Hey, I'm looking forward to this upcoming KCUCS weekend. We're going to be going through X-ray analysis. I want to just say a couple of words here. First, when we take X-rays from an upper cervical perspective, we really do it for four main reasons, and let's detail these really quickly. The very first reason is to get the listing. Let's face it, with knee chest adjusting because of the rotation of the head and all the factors that go with it, you got to have the correct side. If you miss the right side, if you're on the wrong side when you're doing the listing and knee chest work, nothing's really going to go well beyond that point. Now, I have to say, though, that getting the listing and getting the correct side is really more than just learning a formula about how to draw lines on an X-ray. You really have to understand the in-depths of what's going on behind those lines. So that brings us to point number two. Number two, we take X-rays to understand the characteristic of the misalignment. To understand the characteristic of the misalignment, we have to know how it's rotating. We need to know how much laterality is a factor, how much rotation is a factor, how much of the S to I is a factor. We need to understand that for our positioning, of where we're going to stand, how we're going to do the torque, and how we're going to do what we do in the adjustment. And that's not simply just looking at it. I remember Dr. Kale used to say that, you may say ASL and I may say ASL, but it means two different things. And for many years, I don't think that I really understood that. But I do have an understanding that he was explaining that every misalignment has a very specific characteristics. First thing is you have to be able to read through malformation. If you don't read through malformation, you're going to miss it. You're going to think that you have something, and you're going to keep on dinging around on the same thing and not getting the result, or the patient's not getting the result that they really need from your care. So when we think about the characteristics, you have to understand what's going on behind. One thing we teach is we teach about the root. We teach about how the C2 anchors in there, and it's the stability point and the connection to the cranium. And we also talk about what's relative to the atlas, what the atlas is doing, and we go into in-depth about that, because at the end of the seminar, we want you to understand not just a formula for getting a listing, but we want you to understand, really to understand what's going on. It doesn't matter what technique you do, whether it's knee chest or any other technique, you will learn things in this seminar biomechanically that will help you in any regard, because it'll help you understand really what's going on. And the third thing we do is, with our X-ray analysis, we want to be able to establish chronicity with patients. And so one of the things that we have developed over time is being able to understand how long an injury has been there and what the mechanism of injury was. You'd be amazed at how many times I have a patient come in, and let's say they're 45 years old, and I'll tell them, Mrs. Jones, it looks like 15 to 20 years ago, your head was slightly turned and your head went forward too fast. And so many times they'll be like, oh man, yeah, 21 years ago, I was in a car accident, I had my head turned like that. And you know what? The credibility of what you're doing goes through the roof when they know that you really understand these. And we're going to teach these as pretty simple things to learn, but we're going to go through it nonetheless, and it'll give you a real leg up of understanding here again biomechanics, but it'll also help you communicate with your patients, which is as important as anything else. The fourth thing is pathology, and we're not going to be talking about that. That's not really the purview of this seminar, but I just want to give you a heads up. We're looking forward to being there. Join us, and I think that you will be highly enriched in your understanding of what's really going on behind the X-ray. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this video.